Mr. Speaker, I request permission to engage in a colloquy with my colleagues. Mr. Speaker, tonight we'd like to focus on the great trauma and pain that Americans are suffering from. Could start with it looking like that, but really, you turn around and you can see what's happened over the last 2 years. Americans are in a world of hurt. I recall so clearly in California, the area I represented, actually the entire state as I would travel around, we would talk to people who were saying that they were in the real estate business, they were buying houses. And my wife and I, as we would drive to work, she would often say, how can it be? They don't have any money. What's going on? What was going on was the great scam and the great fraud of this century. And the result is seen so clearly on this chart. Beginning in the year of December 2007, there was actually a little uptick in jobs during that Bush administration year. And then came the crash, and things came down around all America. And we see the fall off in jobs over the years from December 2007 until the change of administrations in 2009. Some 700,000 jobs were lost in December and January of 2008 and January of 2009. And then we had a new administration, and we began to turn things around. And joining me tonight are members of Congress that were here during that period of time who were engaged in the key pieces of legislation. The financial institutions literally were on the verge of collapse. And so in December and November of 2008, the Troubled Asset Program, the TARP program, was put in place. The result of that was ultimately a stabilization. Nearly $400 billion was transferred to the banks, the big Wall Street banks. Some $200 billion, or nearly $200 billion, still there. And to this day, those banks have neglected Main Street. They've taken care of themselves. But even so, we've seen, as a result of the Democratic Party's legislation and the work of my colleagues, we've seen a gradual and steady improvement. The job losses began to tail off, and ultimately, now in 2010, in February and March, we've actually seen an increase in the number of jobs and no longer the decline that has so paralyzed this nation. Why did it happen? What was it all about? And what can we do about it? Joining me tonight as we discuss this issue is 5 legislators, members of Congress who have played key roles in the passage of legislation that have set things straight and have reined in Wall Street. Let me introduce first my colleague from the great state of New Jersey, Mr. Andrews. Please share with us your experiences and the legislation that you and your colleagues are so much involved in.
Well, I thank my friend